Well, the choir couldn't have said it any better. Love is made manifest. That's what we're here for today. We are, this month, doing what we're calling our 2020 vision checkup. So last Sunday, we looked at the path that we're on as a church congregation and as a church community. And we have been working these last few years, how can we be a better blessing to the world? How do we extend the influence of Christ in the world, share the resources that we've got? How do we do that? It's what each one of us does individually, and perhaps one of the greatest powers is that we go out from the world inspired to make a difference, to be love and compassion. And so that alone can change the world. But it's also about how we live together as a church community. Today, our church leadership is looking for your counsel, for your advice, your thoughts. And we do this out of a conviction that God's Spirit works through people. We do this steeped in a belief that wisdom comes from the counsel of many people. A belief that is reflected in these two proverbs.
Without guidance, a people will fall, but there is victory with many counselors. Plans fail with no counsel, but with many counselors, they succeed.
So today you're bearing with us, and we're kind of sitting in little random groups all over, and the choir is kind of come down and fill out a little bit too. And you'll notice that there are little groups of 2 pews that you're kind of all clustered together. So kind of look around. You have a little group that you just happen to be sitting around this morning. And in these little groups, we're going to need one person who's going to be writing things down. We're going to be having some conversation today. And I want to tell you what we're going to do with this, because from this conversation, this is really important. From this conversation that happens here this morning, and also from those cards that came in the mail to you, we are going to read those. And then next week when you come, we're going to have signs out in the narthex out there with all of the ideas. And you're going to have stickers, and we're going to put stickers on there to kind of find out, where is God speaking to us as a community right now? What are the ideas that are going to make us the best blessing that we can be? Then, in 2 weeks at our Thanksgiving dinner, our church leadership is, during the dinner, we're going to put it up. We're going to put it on screen downstairs. The ideas that we've had that come from today and from all those little letters and things like that. And these ideas, how are we going to move forward? Because in the months ahead, we're talking about having a capital campaign and maybe doing some new things with our building to be a better blessing to the world. And so from these conversations today, things are going to happen. This is kind of a big deal. So I'm going to quit talking now. And I'm going to introduce our first discussion. And I am your timekeeper. So we're going to keep it to 5 or 6 minutes for conversation. I'll let you know when 5 minutes is gone. So I'm going to give you 1 minute now, kind of cluster with your little group, and we need one person in your group who's going to be recording. And then when our conversation is done, we're going to have some people come down with baskets, and we're going to receive. You're just going to place your little sheet, your ideas into that basket. So 1 minute to introduce yourselves. Okay, there's your minute. There's your minute. I gotta tell you, as you're sitting here having these conversations, my perspective looking out on you, I love the people in this room. And even if it is your first time here today, and even especially if it is your first time here with us today, we need to know why that's the case. So here's our first question for you to talk about as your group. It's going to be up here on the screens too, but here's your first, I'm going to spend 6 minutes talking about this. I'll give you a warning at the end when we have 1 minute left too. Now, any given week, Colonial Church around this building here, we will often have 2 or 3 groups meeting simultaneously. And those can be Tai Chi groups, yoga, 12-step. Like last week I talked about, we are the center of square dancing in Johnson County, as best I can tell. Sierra Club, we do candidate forums so that people can come and meet our civic leaders downstairs in the social hall. Lots of stuff. How can we imagine improving this building, this asset that we've got, to even be more of a blessing to a wider community? And also, along with the ideas that we could do to improve our building, you may have eyes to things that you see that are broken around here, because sometimes I walk by it for years, I'm like, oh yeah, I know how that, like the locks in this church, there's a special prayer you can say to get some of them open. But I don't replace the locks, I just know the prayer. So if there are things that you know that need to be fixed. Also, are there community groups that we should be reaching out to or sponsoring as a congregation that would really help us extend the influence of Christ? Those are the questions for you. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3, let's talk. Are people writing things too? 1 minute left. Okay, friends, that is, I'm going to call us just together for just a second. So, Kate reminded me to tell you, there are multiple sheets of paper, so if you need to use more paper, by all means, go ahead and do that. So, up here, I'm having a lot of fun. I am going through it, and I am asking, so today is a day of blessing. So one of the things I'm having fun is, as you're all out here talking, it's a beautiful sight from up here. And so I am just asking for God to bless each one of you. And even if I don't know your name, if I can see you, I'm asking for God to bless you. So I'm doing my blessing job up here. Sunday morning worship, this time, is still a central point in our church community. So what is most important to you in general, where you're at on your life's journey right now? What is most important to you? When you come, do you need to hear messages of hope and challenge? Or are you here, is it about being together with other people in this church community, in your family that you create? Is it being encouraged, being accepted, to support important outreach missions? What is it that brings you together as a community? What's most important to you? Ready, set, talk. We're being blessed. 1 minute left. Okay, I'm going to bring you on back. And I was so worried y'all wouldn't have something to say. We're going to move on to our third question now. Okay, can you hear me? Boy, I'll keep trying. Okay, I can do the church camp thing. If you can hear me, clap once. Can you hear me, clap 3 times. It's an oldie but goodie. So this is a question too, because we've been talking about what you find sacred too. And I want to tell you, somebody this week said something really important to me. We were talking about how do you personally experience holiness? What is sacred to you? And is there anything that this colonial church community can do together to honor that? Somebody said this week, you know what is holy to me where I'm at my point in my life right now? Time. I feel like I'm always going, and I need time. I need that set aside time for holiness. And so that was really important to me. And this person was actually saying, you know what, I can't, some days, Sunday morning, don't feel like I want to be at church, not because I don't love my community, because I just need some time. And what I heard from that was not a person who was rejecting church. What I heard was a person who needs some Sabbath. So I want you to ask yourself right now and discuss, what is sacred to you? How do you personally experience holiness? And how can this community be part of that? Ready, set, talk. One more minute. Okay, as we wrap up our conversations, Ken and Kate, who are both on our administrative board, they're going to come down and collect your sheets of paper in these little bins. So just place those in. Okay, I'm going to tell you, I am so excited to see the results of what you have just done. Here is what I believe. I believe that a word from God has just been spoken in this room. I believe that God has had something to say through you today. I can't believe all this talking would result in nothing less than that. Because God's Spirit is inside of you, and what you have just shared will help this community refine its vision so that we can be the blessing that we're called to be.